So whenever you have that conversation, oh, there's no record of Exodus in Egyptian history, everybody is thinking about this guy's period. And the answer is there is no Exodus here. Now when you get down to Tutmos, wherever you look, you see the signs of Exodus. And so I could do all day just stood there telling you about how that works. When you get to Ramesses, I haven't got a thing to say in terms of why he's the Pharaoh of the Exodus. There are just two reasons why we think so. The first reason is many of us have seen it on the telly. Yeah? Exodus, Gods and Kings, Prince of Egypt. I am old enough, there's a film called The Ten Commandments in black and white with Charlton Heston. In every single case, the Pharaoh of the Exodus is Ramesses. Wrong. Right? No question it's wrong. Why do we keep going there? Well, it's very simple actually. When you open up Exodus chapter 1, you only need to get to verse 11, and it says the Israelites in Egypt were building store cities, and one of the store cities is called Ramesses. So everybody goes, there we are, there's our Pharaoh. All we have to do is make that fit with this guy, and you cannot do it. It just does not work at all. Let me give you a fact. First 5 books of the Bible, Pentateuch, written by Moses. Jesus seemed to think so I'm going to go with him, right? It's a good idea. First 5 books of the Bible, written by Moses. Here's a fact. Moses never gives Pharaoh a name. He talks about Pharaoh a lot. He never gives Pharaoh a name. He doesn't name his enemy in the same way that Pharaoh might cross the name of Moses out of anything he saw, right? It's a similar kind of idea. He never names Pharaoh. Plus in Exodus 1:11, it's not a person name, it's a place name. And it is probably an updated place name. Because we know that the scribes were allowed to change names that had dropped out of common usage. I can prove that to you because you go right back to where we started with Sesostris, 1900 BC, when Joseph gives his family land in Egypt, Exodus 47 verse 11, so it's handy to remember, he gives them land in the region of Ramesses. That is 600 odd years before this guy is even a thing. It's a place name, not a person name. When you take that away, you have no reason to have Ramesses as your Pharaoh. Okay? So I know some of you live a long way away. I know I can find out where you live, and if I ever hear you teaching that Ramesses is the Pharaoh of the Exodus, I'll hunt you down. And I'll make you come back here and we'll do all this again. It's really important. And it is really important because it's this kind of stuff that makes Christians look stupid. Okay? Seriously do, because the secularists, I know this a lot because I spend a lot of time here, and there's a lot of what you would call intellectual snobbery. The idea that there was an Exodus, that Ramesses is a Pharaoh, it's absolutely derided, and with good reason, because he isn't. The problem is you need to take a group of some of these people who worked around here down to Tutmos. And the ancient sort of writers and commentators, they all said it was Tutmos or Amenhotep anyway. It's only a recent thing since we started watching the telly that Ramesses has got in the way. So it's really important to get that right. However, we'll give him a bit of credit. I mean, it's a beautiful statue. What do you notice about the stone that it's made of? It's red and black. I mean, for Ramesses, this is a gift from the gods, right? I'm Pharaoh of everywhere, and I don't even have to, I don't even have to mark it out. It's there. He lived to be 90. Let's face it, 1250 BC to make it to 90 years of age. Hugely impressive. He had 100 children that we know about, and a few others that he doesn't want to talk about, because he's a discreet guy. Well, again, the goal is you must make sure your dynasty can continue. That's the whole thing. It never worked, of course. It never worked for very long, but that's the case. People say, well, what's the hole in his shoulder? Mm-hmm. That's archaeology in 1799, 1800. The French are in Egypt. They found this piece in the sand, in a temple actually, and they want to take it home. It's too heavy. So what do? Well, they spend a week or more drilling a hole in it, bearing in mind it's solid granite. And then the plan was, this is true, they were going to put a stick of dynamite in his shoulder and blow just the head off. And eventually somebody said, I don't think this is a good idea. And they didn't do it. So they left it, and the French always had a problem with moving heavy stuff. How did it get to the British Museum? I mean, you'll think I'm really making this up, but probably not. Genuinely not. It was sold to the British Museum by an Italian circus performer called Giovanni Belzoni, who was 7 foot tall and used to carry about a dozen people on his shoulders and arms and waist. He got a bit bored with that in Italy, came across to London, made a few friends, went to Egypt, and the Egyptian governors, the pashas, they really loved him. He's such a character, so they used him to negotiate with all the interested parties as to who would end up with stuff like this. Plus, being a strong man, it's fascinating, he invented a way of moving heavy things with water, hydraulics, and he was able to not only to sell this to the rights to it to the English, but to then help them move it from where it was, to get on a barge, to get it on a boat and send it back here. Oh. Italian circus performer called Belzoni. And on a lot of these pieces, again, this is archaeology going back in the 1800s, what he did was that if he found a piece and he was going to claim it, he just scratched his name in the back. They don't do that these days, but you'll find the name Belzoni scratched all over these things. And he claimed it, and once he claimed it, nobody would touch it because he was huge. So it worked very well for him. So I said earlier, in Egypt you die twice. Once when you stop breathing, the other time when people stop saying your name. So from now on, for the rest of your lives, you don't use the name of that guy. Okay? Right. Even during today, you're going to get a slap if I hear his name again, because every time you speak his name, it gets bigger. That's what they thought. You sort of increase his size and his reputation and his power even in eternity. Okay? So forget him. It's that guy. Move on.